What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Apex, the podcast. And ladies and gentlemen, we got him. The CEO, Falcons ImperialHal, is on the show. Second time on the show. It was an awesome hour and 30 minutes with ImperialHal, and we go through just about everything. And from top to bottom, from his move to Falcons, talking about the recent, roster changes that they went through. He goes through his side of the story with all of that, and it was just a good time with the CEO. If you're brand new here, this is the Apex, the podcast, and what we do is usually we have an intro section talking about all ALGS/BLGS topics going into the week, especially throughout Pro League and going into the LANs and events and stuff like that. Right now, we're kind of in a lull just because we still have a long time before we get to champs, and there's really not too much going on besides like BLGS scrims and not a whole lot to talk about there. So I'm not going to hold you guys up for too much longer. We're going to send it on down to the CEO. Without further ado, ladies and gents, Falcons ImperialHal. All right, ladies and gents, we have a very special guest for the second time on this show. We have ImperialHal. Hal, the last time I brought you on, I said at the very end of the interview, listen, when next time we see you, hopefully you brought back a trophy. And you have brought back a trophy, because it's been so long since we've had you on that there's been some trophies in there. So you're the second person to do that. Phony had done it once before because we had Phony on recently, but you brought back a trophy. Not only that, but there has been a plethora of things that you have done that we got to talk about. But I guess the number one question here is, how are you doing? How are you feeling, my man?
I'm pretty good overall. Just kind of like fresh air with the whole like visa stuff with my teammates. But other than that, I guess I've been good. Nothing to complain about. I leave to Japan in 2 days. So, yeah.
Yeah, is that for close? Like that? Is it for the throwback tournament like thing?
No,
is that in Japan?
The throwback tournament was like a week ago, and that was yeah, but that was like online. But this one is just like a 1v1 tournament thing, like LAN. So yeah.
Okay. I knew that there was something going on, I thought, in Japan. I'm like, there's no way they're going to boot camp that early. But maybe they are. Maybe they're just going to go live in Japan for 2 months.
That'd be sick. I'd be down. I'm not, I'd be down. But,
I was about to be like, they say Hal's dedicated. That's a crazy amount of dedication. He's just gonna live there. He's just gonna live there. Well, I mean, there's so much we could talk about here. There's so many different things that have happened since the last time we had you on. I guess we'll start with what's going on more current, all the things that are going on right now. Obviously, you guys just made a huge move, bringing on Wxltzy into the squad for Falcons going into finals. How did that all come together, and how exactly did you guys come to that decision ultimately?
Obviously there's like a lot of drama when it comes to it. With like dropping Gen and when we dropped them, blah blah blah. But like, I don't know, like after the tournament, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen. Like I didn't know what Zero was thinking, so I kind of just like. I went to vacation. Literally, all of us went to vacation like right after, but I didn't like want to wait to like ask. So I kind of asked him right away, like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like I didn't ask him like, "Hey, are we going to change the team?" I just like, "Hey, what are you thinking? What do you want to do?" Blah blah blah, whatever. So like I was fully expecting, or not expecting, but like ready to be dropped. Like if he wanted to, right, to drop me. Like I didn't know what he wanted to do, right? So like if he wanted to drop me, that's fine or whatever. I didn't know if he wanted to drop anybody, but I asked him and took a little bit because obviously he was doing his thing and I was doing my thing. But eventually, like, I don't know, best way to put it is like, let me try to think how to word this. Like, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do and he needed my opinion, but I wasn't like sure what to do either because I haven't been on the team long enough, I guess, for like with Gen or just in general, to like kind of make an opinion, like a very educated opinion on like, hey, should we get rid of Gen or should we do this? Should we do that? Blah, 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 blah. Right. So like, I kind of told him like, hey, I'll give you my opinion. But at the end of the day, it's like, Gen way longer than I do and stuff like that. So obviously like I was in the middle of everything kind of, and I didn't know what was right or wrong at the time. But I felt like, with our conversation, obviously it was like a team decision, right? Like he talked to me about it and I kind of gave him my opinion. But, I felt like when it came to like the team dynamic and stuff like that, it was just best for us to like move on with Jen, for like, obviously like personal things. But yeah, like the team dynamic when it came to just the team and like the coach, it just wasn't good. Like egos clashed, or like criticism was bad and shit like that. But yeah, like I don't think it was like Jen was underperforming or anything like that. It's not, but I think it was just a more team dynamic, between the players and the coach and stuff like that. It was just not healthy. Like, when it came to talking about the game and outside the game and stuff like that. So yeah, basically kind of like, helped Zero kind of like see that, I guess, from the outside perspective and giving my opinion on that. But yeah, I don't think it was necessarily Jen's like performance that was like an issue. I think from my perspective, it was just more so, the team's dynamic was just bad. I'm not gonna like expand on that, but yeah, you get the point.
That's fair.
No, absolutely. I agree that it's fair. Because like what I would say is, I feel like the biggest thing when it comes to Apex, from what I've learned behind the scenes over the last 2 years or so, is that there is always a bigger picture to the story, and we'll never get that full picture no matter like how many times it's talked about, because like there's just first of all too many different perspectives, and then second of all, it's like it shouldn't all probably be public, which I think is kind of like unfair sometimes, like with some of the accusations and comments that are out there. Like, how does that make you feel, like some of the reactions to sort of this situation, what's happened?
Well, like I guess I get more so just mad about it, because I feel like people are just, I feel like even when you like from like just in general, like I feel like I've watched shows, I feel like I've handled IRL situations. Every single time there is a problem, someone has to just point the finger at somebody, right? In some way, it doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. It's just like, okay, it's your fault, right? And like I was kind of like that guy, because obviously Zero wasn't streaming and he was like in Australia at a different time zone, blah 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 blah, right? So like I was that guy, and I was just mad at the fact that like, I can't say everything, because there's reasons why I didn't want to say anything. Like that's like the team's business, and it's not just me. Like if it was up to me, I would say everything, right? But it wasn't up to me, because there's more than one person involved, right, with this entire like like internal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I try to explain to people, like, you guys don't know the entire picture, and there's a lot of things that happen, like you said, in the background that people don't know about it. And if people knew about it, like when it came to context, they would understand, and they would be like, okay, that's why what happened. But obviously we can't do that, because one, it's not up to me, and then not everything revolves around me. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think it just upsets me, because one, we can't like fully talk about everything, and plus it's just like people just don't even listen. They just assume like, hey, we dropped him because we think he's bad and bad at the game, blah 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 blah, right? But it's like you said, background stuff people will never probably know, and it is what it is.
I mean, you've certainly had some practice in people having their own perceptions of you over your career.
Yeah.
This definitely isn't the first time.
Well, the thing is like the difference is that like I've had people have perceptions of me or whatever, but then like I can say what I want. But like this time people have perception of me, but I can't say what I want to like for people to understand the whole picture. So like that's like my problem with the entire thing. But yeah, so I don't know, like the amount of shit that I've gotten like from this entire like situation has been insane, absolutely insane. But yeah, I don't know. It's been weird. I don't know. I guess it like boiled ever since like I left Falcons. Like people kind of just ran with the train or the hate wagon or whatever you want to call it.
Would you say it's gotten easier to deal with, like the hate wagon, as you've like gone throughout your career? Because I feel like if you're like, especially being in the internet space, like you just have to, at like the core of who you are as a person, you just can't give a shit about like random opinions of like people. And like obviously like when there's so many different people that are all sharing what they have to say, like it like can like get to you sometimes. But like
yeah, it just
so like
I
how
don't
do
know.
you how is that for you?
For me personally, like it's I don't know, it's kind of like a 90%, 10%. Like 90% of the time, like it doesn't bother me, and then 10, like there's that like just that one day where I just like crash out or like get pissed off, right? So I don't know, like obviously I've gotten used to it. So most of the time I'm like fine, but sometimes there's like that 1 out of 10 days that I'm just like over it and just are like either annoyed by it or mad about it or I'm like mentally bummed, whatever, exhausted from like dealing with it. So yeah, like for me, for my position or any streamer in general, like, I've had so many situations or like I've known other people that have had to deal with, outside noise. And I don't think I've met another person yet that's kind of like remotely close to me when it comes to like how they deal with that stuff like that. Like, I thought, certain people in Apex, like my other teammates, would react the same or like think the same, where like, hey, fuck everyone else, like just do your thing. But it does bother people, and most of the time they act like it doesn't, but it actually does. So it is very hard, and obviously it's just part of the job. Especially if you have a big stream or you're a big
Cost of doing
YouTuber.
business.
Yeah, exactly. Like you get the good and the bad. Like one day you'll be praised like you're God, or next day you'll be praised like you're the devil. So
Dude,
it is what it is.
I posted a video recently talking about crypto at this most recent LAN, how I think it was unhealthy for the meta. The shit I had said about me in that comment section, I was like, and this is like 1% I know of what a lot of like the pros deal with, because like this is like sort of like my opinions that I tried to back up with some pros, gameplay, context, like their comments about the character and why I thought it was really bad for the health of the game. And I was like, and this is nowhere close to the shit that I see that like you deal with, or like there's a bunch of players in the scene. I was like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, so you're right. Like the people, like it can get to them pretty easy, and it's tough to deal with, right? Like the thing I try to do at most sometimes is just, it's gonna sound bad, but like one, I say it's a vocal minority. It's a lot of people are just really loud, but like it's not the mass consensus. And then the other thing is like, it's just people who just don't understand like the stuff that they're fucking commenting. Sometimes I'm just like, you don't like know like the in depth of the game to this level to like really unfortunately have the opinion that you're putting here. So it maybe I got an ego on that front, but I'm like, I don't fucking care.
Oh yeah, literally, it's like most opinions are just kind of like uneducated, or they're just kind of speaking out of their ass most of the time. They don't even know what they're talking about. So it's like those are like the comments that like are funny to me, because I like to read a lot of the negative stuff, because most of the stuff is just funny because they don't even know what they're talking about. But obviously there's some stuff like, hey, okay, that's valid and whatever. But there's a lot of just, I just see it as entertainment to me, and like the best way to kind of see it is like, I don't know, you kind of just have to read it. You can't like avoid it, because if you avoid it, then you won't get used to it, and it'll just bother you more if you don't like kind of jump into it, if that makes sense. So
you gotta like get a callus to it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Like what's the word? Like a tolerance.
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
You did put out a tweet, though. You said last time that you got a lot of hate like this was right before that NA Split 1 playoffs. Like, do you see any similarities to that time? And I'll even say, like, we got a comment on our episode last week, because I think we were talking about just how we felt that with the recent, like, Mannheim not being as great, that, like, you guys would be hungry as ever to win again, right? And anytime I say anything positive, Falcons, I called it Glazer. We got called ball shavers or something on the most recent.
Yeah, we got
one.
ball holders or something.
Something like, I don't know. We're doing something with your balls apparently.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, does like with all that, and then combined with some of the performance, like, how driven do you feel like for like the upcoming LAN and the upcoming competitions? And then like, do you see similarities to like that past, like that era, like that right before that Split 1 playoffs, NA, the online era? There's like over 2 years ago now.
Yeah, I think it's like pretty similar, but I think this situation is even worse, because I feel like in a way, because back then it was just kind of, it wasn't people really against us, it was just people didn't believe in us. But now it's like people don't believe in us. People are also against us, and it's also not only just like the public, it's also the players. Obviously, like, my like relationship with Evan and then my like our relationship with Jen is like weird now. So it's like everything is kind of just weird. And then I obviously like I said earlier, like the whole public thing, you know, I feel like not only people don't want us to win, they don't think we can win, right? Because we just got 20th or whatever. So, you know, I think it's like 3 times worse than it was in the playoffs. You know, playoffs is kind of like, yeah, they're playing so shit, then they're going to do shit. Now it's kind of like, hey, I don't like you because you dropped Jen, or hey, I don't like you because you left TSM. Hey, I don't like you because this, blah, 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 but you guys also suck too, blah, 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 right? So it's like kind of everything on top of each other. So I don't know. I've been like playing so much recently. Like I've been playing ranked at like minimum like 8 hours a day. So, and I don't remember last time I've done that, to be honest. So I don't know, like personally, like I want to win so bad just because I feel like everyone's against us in a way. Like not just because people think we're, you know, we're bad or, you know, how we treated Jen, etc. It's just I don't know. I just want to prove that 20th was a fluke, and I want to prove to myself that I feel like I have it. I still have it, right? Even though I just got 20th once and I also got 17th. Like I want to prove to myself that I can do it again, and I'm still one of the best players in the game, or if not the best.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's in my head.
Yeah, it's. I also think it's the entire situation is weird because the way people are framing it. Where I mean, you opened this interview up saying, "I thought I didn't even know if I was going to get dropped." You know, like if you have that in your head, I feel like there's no way there's any sort of malicious intent with anything. And I also feel like it's a very weird spot to be in, like you mentioned, where you're on a brand new team and you're asked to make a major decision. Like that's not something like I feel like sometimes people look at you and they say, that's ImperialHal. You know, he's the CEO. He's not like, it won't be weird for him to make a decision like this, but it is because you joined a brand new team and you hadn't been a part of that dynamic. You're the newest one to be a part of that dynamic. I feel like people aren't understanding that to the full extent because that is a weird little factor in all of this is that, you know, you were the newest member. Is there anything else that comes to mind for you that you just wish people could understand or just take a little bit more time to think through on this whole thing?
I've said it before. I think like just the biggest thing people need to understand is not like simple as, hey, we're going to kick you and then call it a day. Right. You know, I've explained it on stream where, you know, there's so many, because obviously both Zero and Jen at the time were going through visa process. And like, to put it bluntly, like I told Zero multiple times, like, hey, we need to tell Jen as soon as possible. Right. But he brought up the fact that like, hey, you know, if we tell him or tell like Falcons as soon as possible, then they might just cancel his visa. Right. And obviously the mistake was that not asking Falcons in the first place, like, hey, if we drop him, you're just going to stop. Because the thing is that at the same time, though, if we did ask them, then it would be too late because like, you know, if we told them like, hey, if we drop Jen, are you going to cancel it? And then now they know. Right. So it's like we just assumed that, or Zero just assumed that if we told Falcons that they would like just cancel his visa process, and then he would like basically just get fucked on the visa and not have a visa and then have to find another org to, you know, or join a team, blah, 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 whatever. And he would think that would be a bigger problem, right? And he didn't want to fuck him over with that. And I was like, okay, I didn't think of that. Like, that's fair. So I didn't like I said, the biggest thing is that there's more to it than just a couple words like, hey, you're dropped and move on, right? Like we have, you know, visas in play. We have contracts and buyouts, not from Jen, but also from other teams, like from the other players that we want. Like, and we were also worried because they bought out both Jen and Zero from Dark Zero Falcons, right? And that was a decent amount of money. And there was definitely a chance that Falcon just says, no, we're not doing that. We just paid you guys, or we just paid for you guys. We're not going to let you drop him. Like, we can't just waste that money for no reason, right? Like, and just let him go or whatever, like just drop him from the main team. So like that was another problem, right? Like it's completely understandable for them to like say no to us because of how much money they kind of forked out to get both of them in the first place. So I guess like to put it as short as possible, like it's a lot more complex than it is in like, you know, dropping someone.
It's a lot more. There's a lot more logistics to it. There's a lot more at stake than a lot of people can understand. No, that makes a lot of sense, especially with the visa thing, because we've already seen so many situations where teams could not get visas in time, and it basically ruined like a opportunity at going to a LAN. And
exactly.
I mean, even Moist Critical has talked about it in like his YouTube channel, where they had the same agent who was not giving Moist the visa forever, and then they had to become not Moist. So it's like, I think that's a great explanation, because there is so much behind the scenes that, you know, the casual watcher, viewer, whatever, enjoyer of ALGS just won't get, because it's not just, hey, let's get in a Discord call, we're getting a new teammate, you go find another team. That it's more than that. And I like that.
I think that we should, like, I was actually curious now on the flip side of things, though, kind of like lift the moods. Wxltzy, great player. Draugr, I've heard a lot of amazing things about. What are your thoughts to bring them on the team regardless, though? What is, like, especially Wxltzy coming in, kind of add to the team? How do you guys see, like, those things going right now?
Obviously we haven't, like, so far we haven't had that much time to play together, just because of like them being in Australia and playing at 250 ping, and it hasn't been going.
The scrims have been kind of like so as well on top of it.
Yeah, our performances haven't been like good at all, just because of like, I feel like the ping is like hindering them a lot, you know, with the way we play, like aggressively. It's just really bad. But like so far, I just feel like, you know, I think like you know, like I said before, is like the team dynamic is like way better. Just overall, you know, I feel like, you know, I guess I don't want to like expand on that, but basically team dynamic is a lot better. That's all you got to know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the team dynamic is a lot better. Like, I feel like, you know, overall, like the maturity is also just like insane. Like, you know, I feel like we can talk in and outside of the game as a team. And I feel like Zero is enjoying it a lot more, like for the most part, from what I understand or seen. So obviously I can't speak on like that much, because, you know, we've been playing, but it's like, you know, both of them are 250 ping. Like, it's just kind of mental torture at that point. We're kind of just playing because we might as well not just sit there and do nothing instead. So yeah.
And I mean, like, I was trying to like get a gauge for if you guys had a comp or something. I know like everything's kind of up in the air with the meta in general right now, but like you guys run some there's Bang, Newcastle, Cat, Path, Bang, Horizon. Like, and I know then there's also contests, so you guys are like rotating and everyone's just conduit Horizon, so it doesn't even matter. You can't do shit half the time. Like, I know like it's a kind of weird point right now for like competing in general. Like, all there is really BLGS, but the scrims are just all over the place too.
Yeah, scrims are kind of like it's a huge shit show. Like, you basically made a tournament where it's completely open to public, and then you have every map like put in. So it's like, and it's also not POI draft. So then you have, when you mix professional teams and then a bunch of nobodies in the one lobby, you have a lot of arrogance and like ignorance, I guess. Like, they just, you know, clashing heads the entire game, and no one's going to leave the POI. I don't care how many times I die. I'm just stay there until you guys pick me in BLGS or whatever, right? Like, nobody cares. You go and they're not going to care until they lose in BLGS, right?
Kind of sounds like you're afraid of contesting me in BLGS.
It's funny, bro. I think we had like one team contest us, and they were like absolutely terrible, and we just like rolled them. So we had two teams.
I saw you at Clima. I'm coming to Clima now. Like, if I'm in your lobby on that.
That's your
Come,
spot.
Clima. Listen, this is your chance. Two of us at 250 ping. Come. Perfect time.
No, unfortunately, Tempo won't let me in oversight scrims. I'm not there, unfortunately.
Now, speaking of what's going on and moving forward with, you know, the different metas and everything going on, I think the craziest thing, Jumba, about your comment earlier about getting hate, I'm surprised you got hate for saying crypto meta sucks, because it is the worst. I wanted to get your thoughts on it, Hal, because I honestly believe, like, we've watched so many of these tournaments, and there were great teams that were struggling with the crypto meta, but also it was so fucking boring to watch. It was just the worst. Like, moving forward, what are you hoping to see with the change of this meta? Because I assume there's a lot of changes that need to be made to make it feel way less boring than it did at Split 2.
Well, I think, I don't know, there's a difference between what I want and like what people want to watch, right? But in my head, I feel like most people enjoy when it's like an aggressive meta, like characters like I'm kind of biased here, but like Horizon, and yeah, like Horizon. Just saying, like Horizon, like Valk is good for the game. Even I could say as much as Seer is good for the game because it encourages fighting. Like people are confident in fighting, whatever, take fights. So I don't know. I really hated crypto meta. Like that was a problem. But then now we have like Newcastle Catalyst, like basically a completely like defensive meta, kind of how like what Gibby Caustic was back in the day. And I hated that meta too, and I was not good at it. I was like 7th, 6th best on it. So like Newcastle and Catalyst, I feel like it's just like an entire positioning meta. Like you have a better spot than another team, then like good job, you win, right? But like there's no way. It's like very hard to outplay your opponent now because it's like you have to break through like fucking Great Wall of China to kill that team now because of Newcastle wall, cat wall, reinforced doors, and maybe if they play Watson, right? So I dislike it, just like I said, because it's a very like one-dimensional game. You just kind of completely rely on your positioning majority of the time and not based off of like how good the team is, like 3v3 fighting or whatever it might be, gun skill and stuff like that. So it's like the complete opposite of what like Horizon meta used to be. So
when are you breaking out the Maggie? That's what the people want to know.
The issue with Maggie is like you can't hit beacon or anything. So
that's fair.
That's like the biggest problem.
Pathfinder Maggie Bangalore. Or Pathfinder Maggie Castle.
You got the castle.
Listen, my team let me play Horizon, so honestly, if I asked them to play Maggie, they probably would they wouldn't even care. They would be fine with it.
Well, dude, I mean, I think I saw the 1v6, and I know that you're just itching to bring out the Horizon and comp.
I've been playing Horizon the last like 2 or 3 days, but it's like it's impossible to gauge what's good or bad because my teammates are like handicapped with the ping, so it's like. We're doing bad, and I don't know if it's because like I'm playing bad on Horizon or whatever it might be. So like, yeah, we've been playing like all over the place. Like I've been on Horizon, I've been playing on Fuse, I've been playing Pathfinder, fucking everything, right? So yeah, like maybe I might play Maggie at some point, but like the issue, even though Horizon is the same issue, is like you can't hit beacon or anything. Like Maggie and Horizon outside of their like kit, like is practically useless because they just scan either package or use assault bin, but you already have a Bangalore for assault bin. So like, what's the point to have 2 assault characters? So
I kind of wanted to hone back in on you saying that you even found like Seer healthier for the game, and the reason I wanted to like bring that up is because I've talked to a handful of other players now, and like even spoke to Privacy actually, and I asked them, I said like, how do you feel about like this crypto information that like teams are getting versus like the Seer Bloodhound metas, right? And like a lot of people have actually, every single person individually has said to me that the problem is that like the Seer and the Bloodhound was on like a micro level, like you're fighting, everything like that. Like, yeah, you had kind of like max information about how to act in a fight, especially with the Seer ult down. Whereas crypto is like all your macro, like early game kind of information. And the reason why that's worse is because like it just removed any of the guesswork that you guys typically play with. And what I would say is both was yours and Zero's advantage in the game. Like you guys were the like top 2 IGLs in the game for a reason. You guys understood it on a level that other people didn't and how to make those decisions. I mean, I kind of wanted to like get into Mannheim at some point. So if you guys want to stop me. But I want to know, like, do you think that was some of the reasons why? Like, there's been a ton of theories going around of why maybe it wasn't your best tournament. Do you think a reason why is because it felt like everyone was on the same playing field? Like, there's just total information, and it was almost harder to make those decisions now because everyone was playing with perfect information where you couldn't use their weaknesses to your advantage?
Oh, 100%. Like, I completely agree. Like, from my perspective, there's like 2 things that was like a problem. Is where one is our best crypto player was our best bang player. Is like Zero was really good at crypto and bang, but nobody was really like me or Jen weren't really that great on crypto. So like you have to have a good crypto player, you have to have a good bang player, right? And we didn't have like 2 different players for both characters, right? So that was one problem. And 2 is that what's it called, like you said, like the perfect information with the drone. It's like, there was one game in the finals in Northpad where we were in like basically God spot, like at the gazebo, and we had alliance right next to us, and I was like calming before anything happened, like, hey, hack is, because we know it was them because they land Northpad, like they're droning us the entire game. They're just sitting up in the air, like 50, 100 feet up in the air, just watching us the entire time. And like that is like the biggest issue. What it was with crypto is like, if me or Zero or just even Zero would want to, split up or look for a pick or scout something, you have drones just up in the air watching you the entire time, and then as soon as you get split up, you just get zipped on and EMP'd and you're just dead. So like, and that was like it was like the opposite of how you played Apex. Is now you just have to sit in a spot. Hopefully you don't get inted because some team just has no choice but to push you. And because before, like, you just run around and push people away and force them the other way. But like with the crypto meta is everyone's watching your every step, and people were playing Pathfinder. So if they see you split at all, they just EMP you and zipline on the duo, and you're just instantly dead. And it's just GG's. So, and like how you said, like the perfect information, it kind of just like lowered the skill gap completely, because you went from, people having like insane game sense, like Mirror Zero or whoever else it might be, to the point where you can have like a bad player just sitting up in the sky, seeing absolutely everything happening, and they can just make such an easy play. And not only, they make a good rotation, but they can just EMP you and then kill you for free too. So like it like dumbed down the game completely in my head. Like it was, everything was wrong with the character. Like in my head, like the reason why I feel like crypto, not only because of what I just explained, but it was more so I feel like characters that impose damage, or abilities that impose damage, are way worse for the game than abilities that enhance the game itself. So, which is why I see like Horizon or Bloodhound or even Seer like being way better, because their abilities don't necessarily do damage, they just enhance the game itself or push the game forward in a way, like gun skill wise. Like, hey, if I want to push somebody, obviously Bloodhound had its own problems with digi meta and shit like that, like, but it was obviously it's way better than what crypto is, because crypto EMP had 4-second scans on walls, and you were stunned, and you would get hit for 50 guaranteed, right? And the drone had like no audio half the time, right? So there was just multiple problems, but that's how I kind of see it. Like I feel like abilities or characters with abilities that push or enhance, like that's why I feel like the game, it was at its best when it was like Wraith, Pathfinder, Watson, or like even Horizon, Seer, like Valk. Like there was no, like during those metas, there's no character like abilities that were like, I'm gonna guarantee you hit you for like 50 damage, or I'm going to hit you just because I hit this Q through the door or whatever it might be, right? So that's just how I see it in my head. But yeah, like the main problem was we were kind of like trapped in the box, like as a team, when it came to crypto, because everyone, like I said, can just scout everything the entire time. You try to clear a team, clear a side in the zone, someone is zipping on you from behind literally in half a second, and then you're just dead. And it was just it was like as if you just couldn't do anything. You just have to wait, and hopefully like an opportunity happens. You basically can't be the one to create the opportunity. You have to be the one to like act on someone else's opportunity in a way. Like you have to be just sitting there, wait for someone else to like push someone, and then you just zipline it, because that was like the entire meta for the most part in my head.
That alliance or like Northpad game you're talking about, right? Like like just for examples for the listeners, like how that exactly played out. The minute Zero branched off, and then you literally started moving a little bit. The drone was in the air the entire time. You guys were trying to shoot it down, but you could not get it because it was so far up. And then the minute you guys break off, they EMP jump Gen, and then now it's a 3v2, and because they have the Pathfinder, the zip line, and it's not like you guys could have done the same thing back to them because they were in the bunker underneath, so you can't fly a drone under there really that easy. Whereas you guys were on the gazebo, they have like all this information that you guys holding space, right? So it's just like it's the having to like kind of like outplay them there, like just seemed like almost impossible in that specific situation, and where without that crypto drone, they don't know what you guys are doing above you after at that point.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
I will say,
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like you're exactly like if they didn't have the drone, they wouldn't be able to just send us. Like I said, me and Jen literally said, like, I remember me saying, "Hey, they're watching us the entire time. They can just zip on us and AMPS." And then a couple minutes later, Jen says the same thing, like, "Hey, if I move too far away or I'm like if I'm too close to them, they're just gonna EMP me and zip on us." And then as like the entire like for context of the game, there was one spot out in the water that we were worried about for someone else taking because that was like a spot that we needed to clear out and make sure nobody was there, basically. And Zero was worried about it, and Jen didn't see it. Someone else took it, and then Jen or Zero was like, trying to mess with the team and like get them killed. And literally within like 20 seconds of Zero trying to get that team killed because they were a problem for us later in the game, Alliance just sent us, right? And it's like, what do you even do there? Like I didn't. Like the only play you can do is you just kill them before they kill you in a way, right? But at the it's another thing is like, are we going to get thirded? Because that fight inside the bunker isn't like free because they're not going to be split in the bunker. Like, yeah, they'll be stuck inside the bunker, but like we're still 3v3ing them. It's not we're taking like a 2v3 like they would on us. So if we just sat there gazebo and not done anything, we would have probably just died next zone because we just were be pinched in between the Alliance and the team DF that won the game. So it was just like you just couldn't play the game, and like I don't know why, but like that kind of handicapped us because I feel like that's how we've played Apex for so long. Like we kind of always just roamed around and taking space, make plays and whatever, but we just couldn't do that with that meta at the time at all.
Yeah, it was when we were watching the like getting ready to talk to Phony about it. I went back and watched the final game, like where they win, and me and Jumper were watching it together. The first 15 minutes, we're just in a drone. Like
I timed it for that video I did. I timed it, and it was 12 minutes and 42 seconds out of a 23-minute game.
We're just in a drone, just watching it. And what you were saying is like, well, the only thing we can do is just go kill them first. But then we get thirded because that's what the entire meta was. It was all reactionary. It was if you probably didn't just have their drone on you, you probably had a few other drones just watching you from every other angle as well. It was basically like you were just walking inside a bank and there's like 16 cameras just all pointed straight at you. There's nothing you can do there. And I just wonder, like, we saw what happened in the games and stuff like that. But I wonder from like the perspective of you're the man sitting in the chair and you've got your two teammates with you. What do you do? What was the thought process? What were you guys talking to each other about during those games when it was just like so difficult to try and like get your footing?
I don't know. Like from like what I remember, we were obviously talking about the game. Like, hey, what can we do? But if even at this time right now, like after the games, it felt like as if we didn't have an answer. To be honest, like we talked about the game, and like we complained about the NordPad game, like I just how I explained it, and we didn't know what to say. Like we told him like, hey, like we knew what was going to happen. I told Zero like we knew what was going to happen, and we still just let it happen. And it's like, what do we even do about it? Like what if we just sit there, then we get fucked. If we do something about it, we get fucked. Like there's no right play in a way, like from where we were at. But I don't know. It became to the point where we didn't have an answer to the games, right? And then when it became to the point where we didn't have an answer or like a way to kind of like move on or fix what was going on, we just started like thinking that it was like a role problem. Like, hey, you should be like Zero should be playing crypto. Like I feel like Joe should have been on crypto since the beginning, but then like I told him he should play crypto in finals, and obviously that wasn't a good idea. As soon as you start like changing characters and roles and stuff like that, like you're just fucked. Like it's just GG's, right? Like mental is like gone. Like you just think that swapping a role will fix it, but it'll just make it worse because Zero doesn't play crypto, he hasn't played crypto, like etc. So it was just kind of like we showed up to finals. First couple games felt like it was things that we didn't have an answer to and didn't know what to do about it, and then it just went downhill from there. Because we didn't know what to do.
Yeah, so, there was even the one game that he has you like IGL, like, but that was like at the end, like that was the second last game. So like, I mean, like you're 10 games in at this point. Like I understand.
Yeah, I didn't even fucking.
You didn't even get a chance. It went all the way skyhook and you guys died.
Yeah, well, like I'm pretty sure Monsoon had a 4x10 charge rifle. I don't know. I don't know. He can still. I don't think you can see through the smoke, but like, I don't know if Jen fucked up the smoke because Jen was playing Bang and we were crossing from building to building, and I don't know if he fucked up the smoke to cross, but like he just got heady bodied by a charge rifle on the cross, and we just got zipped on by a different team and died. Like, and then it was just like. It was so like we were about to be in a good spot. We knew where zone was going, blah blah blah, and I feel like I was calling macro like pretty well. We had purple armors or whatever. He got 2-tapped. We got zipped on and just died. It was like, all right, cool.
I will say like that's what you mean though. I guess like once you start swapping roles, because like I was getting confused because we had Jen on Bang. I was like, I've never seen Jen play Bang in my life. And then like it was like there was like you and Jen were switching between Fuse Bang to like Zero on so like it was kind of like all over the place. What I kind of wanted to also talk about though, a lot of people hang on like the finals performances, right? And obviously because that's where you get like your overall placement at the LAN. But I guess if you look relatively to other teams, not relatively to the Falcons and like your TSM performances in the past, it wasn't that bad a performance. You guys got fourth in groups, and you had like 2 good sets there, and then you had a pretty decent winners bracket, getting I think 4th in winners bracket as well, right? So then, do you think
we got 9th? We got 9th.
Was it 9th?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
My bad on. So, okay, maybe winners bracket didn't go as good as we thought either.
Yeah, no.
But I was going to say, like, do we just chalk this up to, like, was it a bad day? Do you think, like, there was just, like, things not clicking? I mean, like, there was even a lot of north zones and you guys were coming from Siphon the entire time. So, like, you know, it wasn't, I think there was only 2 zones that were around Siphon area as opposed to, like, the rest of them being all Skyhook and Klima and such, right? So,
yeah. It was like, I don't know, from my perspective, it's like we obviously didn't have zones, but another thing is like from my experience, there's, you know, I've said how from my experience, as soon as you start swapping characters, it's GG's. And I feel like we were complaining about zones a lot. Obviously, there's an extent that you should complain about it, but there's, you know, when you are doing well or you're just doing good in the tournament in the first place, you don't give a fuck where the zone is usually. Like, obviously you do, it helps you. But typically the teams that do well, they're not complaining about the zone because they do well anyways, right? Like if you're going to do well, you have to do well with the zone is like not in your favor. So we were complaining about the zone, which is another indication of just like we probably weren't like confident in our 3v3s or whatever it might be. So like obviously we didn't have zones, but like in the overall tournament, I feel like we just lack confidence just in general, like I guess our 3v3s or whatever it might be. And I don't know, maybe it was my fault for like criticizing Zero or like telling Zero like, hey, like, you know, we're playing like pussies or whatever, like criticizing him, and it might have like gotten to him and it bothered him like in the finals day or something like that. Like I wasn't confident personally. Like we just got 9th. We barely even scraped by because we got gifted a fucking zone the last game of winners bracket. Like, you know, we're letting Mills zone with Cenote and like 10 feet away from us where we're playing from. And yeah, like we barely scraped by. And from a team that was supposed to be winning everything, we are relying on RNG to make it finals. Like that shouldn't be a thing. Right. And so like, I'm realistic and I'm obviously like saying like, hey, I'm not pretty confident in like us doing well because we just got through winners or we just got through finals barely because we got gifted. And obviously like, you know, my teammates don't want to hear that, but in my head, like, yes, I know the reality was that we barely got through and I'm not confident, but like at the end of the day, like I'm still going to show up tomorrow and I want to win. Like, it's not going to bother me. So yesterday was yesterday, today is today, but I feel like it wasn't the same for the others. And that I feel like that bothered them a lot. So I feel like, you know, everyone's different, right? And I'm me and Zero takes it differently, Jen, etc. So like from now on, I feel like, you know, even if we do bad, next day is next day, and it doesn't matter what I think or how I react. I have to consider like how my teammates will react of how confident I am or what I think about it, because that might affect them differently, and not just, you know, I'm not only going to worry about what I'm going to do, but I want to worry about how they're going to take it for tomorrow. So, and I didn't think of that. and I feel like that like bothered them a lot, and like that's how like the confidence I feel like kind of just went downhill like pretty quickly during the finals. But overall, I still felt like the confidence was as bad since the beginning of the tournament. Like, you know, the very first group, I feel like we weren't playing as we usually do. Obviously, second group, we got second by 1 point, and that felt a lot more natural in how we usually play. But it was just like Rocky. Like one day we were playing how we usually are, next day we weren't. So it was all over the place, and yeah.
All right. Do you think that lacking like a true Newcastle player in this meta has hurt you guys? Because like absolutely like no shade on your Newcastle, but like your Newcastle and Vaxlon's Newcastle are just not the same.
Well, listen, if I was playing Mouse and Key, Vax ain't shit.
I actually felt like I saw you said. I didn't think you were gonna say that, but I thought you were gonna say something about being on Mouse and Key.
Is there a world where we see an M&K Newcastle main ImperialHal holding it down? Because I'm gonna be honest, like in scrims, at least whenever I tune in, it's like, all right, Zero's getting his shift for the week on Newcastle. All right, now it's Wxltzy's turn. All right, Hal, you're up next. How are you gonna do today? Who's playing Castle?
Oh yeah, like in my personal opinion, I feel like the Mouse and Key player has to play in Newcastle. Like I think it's
such a like M&K legend.
Can I ask why?
100%
Can you guys like
no
explain a little bit why? Like just like
it's just like you have to fucking look around like so fast. Like okay. I'm moving like literally like a robot, like a turret, and I have to be rezzing, throwing the Q down, looking backwards so the Q moves forward me. Like I'm just dancing at that point. I can't do that on controller. Like,
yeah, no. When you're like 4-3 is like you're like shooting, but like when you have to like. All right, I need a shield to my right. Then I need to I need to instantly 180 and res the teammate behind me. Then I need to like turn my Q. Yeah, exactly what he was saying. And it's just everything you have to do so fast that like simply trying to do it like you can be a decent like controller Newcastle, but you will like there's just a ceiling of how good you can be, and like you will never be as good as like a good M&K Newcastle player.
Yeah.
Well, we saw Lufka pop off. So, like,
Lufka,
to be fair, Lufka went crazy.
Like,
He's probably the best one at the tournament alongside Vax.
Lufka got the job done on Newcastle, but if you watch his gameplay compared to like a good M&K player on the character, it's just not even close. And like Shuby's a good example of like a controller Newcastle who he's holding it down, but like he's not doing like what these M&K players are.
Yeah, 100%. For our team, we don't even, obviously, like I said it before, it's like we can't figure out who plays what because they're on 250 ping, and trying to play Newcastle on 250 ping or even Horizon, like it's just like you're just handicapped. Trying to play behind a wall on 250 ping is like you peek the wall, shoot, but you're still getting hit because on your screen, you know how it goes, right? So it's like. We have Wxltzy trying to play Newcastle, but the guy doesn't remember to use his ult to get away. Zero plays Newcastle, but we don't know how to use bang smokes. And then when I play Newcastle, I'm mid at it. I'm not like perfect or great. Like I just do the bare minimum on that character, right? And like it just I don't know. Like right now, we feel like it doesn't fit our team. Like that's like the consensus, right? But I feel like. In my head, we should revisit it once they come back to NA and give a fair shot because, like I said, like the ping has just not like helped us like test things and understand what's good and what's bad for us, right? Because it just like hinders performance a lot. But yeah, right now we feel like we shouldn't be playing Newcastle because we're just not that type of team. But we'll see. We have still a lot of time to figure that out.
Thankfully, we've had like fucking 3 meta changes in a month and a half. I put my entire house on Japan not being this meta. Like,
that's what we're praying for.
Conduit's back.
We're right now. Not gonna lie, we are praying for champs to be a different meta. Obviously, because like to put it bluntly, like we don't fit the meta still as a team. Like it's still just kind of like defensive meta and positioning. It's not like 3v3, take a fight and see who's better. Right now, it's kind of like, just the opposite, and it doesn't fit us as a team. Like, it's not who we like, how we play. But so like, yeah, we want hopefully the meta to change by champs, because there should be like a season or two until then. I'm pretty sure. So
Yeah,
it should change. But yeah, BLGS will be. I feel like it'll be a lot of just it'll be more so like, obviously it's a tournament at the end of the day, but it'll be like kind of practice for a lot of teams to kind of figure out their stuff. New teams and whatever.
So I'm sure you've talked about this on stream a few times, and all the different places, you talk about the team and different stuff. But as far as getting and coming to the decision to pick up Wxltzy, was that just like, this is the guy, this is the only guy we're going to go for, or was there anybody else that you guys thought about maybe bringing on, or was it always just Wxltzy?
It was always just Wxltzy. Like, it's kind of funny. One of like Zero's friends, or Don, like Don. Maybe you guys know Don. He's on Moist right now, their coach. He he linked a YouTube video. I think it was like a year or two ago, that I was still on TSM, and I was talking about Zero and his team. And it's kind of crazy, because I literally said, like, word for word, that Zero should pick up Wxltzy, and that he would never get rid of Jen unless he had someone else that was like up to his level on his team. And like, fast forward to now, he's playing with Wxltzy, and he got rid of Jen because I was on his team. And and like, he brought it up because, like, I literally said word for word what he should do, or like what was going to happen, or what should happen, and now we're here. So it's like, Wxltzy was the only like option in my head. Like, back then, I felt like Wxltzy was the only option, because I feel like everyone's like, because Zero swapped his teammates all the time, right? And to put it bluntly, like, Zero's third, like Zainu and Sykes, whatever, like, they all, they had opinions, but they kept it to themselves. They kind of like didn't, respect themselves enough to like talk back to Zero or whatever. Like, they're new guy to team. They were both, like, Sykes was a new guy, Zainu's a rookie, etc. Right? Like, Sykes had obviously prior experience, but they're not no Zero or Hal, whatever, right? So like, when you join a team and you have Zero as your IGL, like, you just shut your mouth and follow. Like, you don't talk back, type of thing, right? So, and I feel like Wxltzy was like, he was good at the game, but he wasn't. He had an opinion, like, he was gonna accept his fault, but if he felt like he wasn't wrong, or he had something to say, he's gonna say it. He's not just gonna sit back and like, and just take it, right? Compared to, I feel like, how it was with Zainu and Sykes and his other prior teammates. So I always felt like Wxltzy was like the best fit, because you kind of need that guy, I feel like, on the team. And obviously, like, he's also Australian, and they're good friends outside the game, so like, that helps too. But yeah, like, we never talked about anybody else at the time, like, at all. That was our only option. I didn't really like ask Zero at all, like, hey, we should get somebody else or whatever. I kind of just like, I agreed with him. Like, if we were gonna get somebody, it was probably Wxltzy. So yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I remember when Sharky retired back, right before they picked up Zainu, that Zero's first choice actually was Wxltzy at that time too. He was just with Moist, didn't want to leave Moist, and Dark Zero wasn't like, at that time they hadn't even won that land yet, right? So they just came like 13th. So it's not like, other than the option of moving to NA, it wasn't like this Falcons team to join that was like, you do whatever you can to get on that team. Like, Wxltzy was killing it in APAC South at that time, and I think had even better placements than them at the Split 1 playoffs, the first London Split 1 playoffs, right? So I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I just know that he's always wanted to play with Wxltzy too, so I totally believe and see that. Because like, the only other person I would imagine would have been Wxltzy's teammate Guild. Well, there was no conversation about Guild, just Wxltzy, right?
No, just only Wxltzy, yeah.
Yeah, and it's we had Wxltzy on, I don't know, maybe like a month or two ago, and the first time we had him on, when he was still in APAC South, it was a like super fun interview. We, chatting, laughing, all that kind of stuff. We had him on the second time. He was the most serious person I have seen in a long time. Like, he was so locked in. There was a moment where he was like, I don't want to call anybody out. And then he just started name dropping everybody. He was calling everybody out. And I thought to my head at that time, I was like, it would be crazy to watch him and Hal play together. Like, I think like that level of locked in would be fun to watch. So I applaud the move. I think it's going to be fun to watch moving forward, and hopefully we get a different meta change because I don't want to watch another crypto thing. So we'll see how that goes. We're almost 53 minutes in, and we haven't even brought up some of the crazy stuff the other things that have gone on. And I guess the one thing I wanted to bring up was, in my mind, we talked earlier about the internet and how it can be it can kick you when you're down, but there's also some great moments too. And I imagine the move from TSM when that video went up and everybody was like, okay, Hal's leaving TSM. I would imagine that was like a good day for you just because of all of the memories that came back, all the people being like, it was a hell of a run, all that kind of stuff. Was that kind of the sentiment that went around that day?
Yeah, for the most part, it was like, I don't know, like it's kind of hard to remember because there was like a lot of different emotions because a lot of happened like during that time. But yeah, like it was kind of insane. Like I don't know, I feel like I got a lot of positive, but that was obviously there was some negative, like, hey, why would you leave? Like, you know, blah blah blah. But you know, for the most part, like the whole leaving TSM, it was kind of like it was good. I felt like, you know, it was a lot better than I thought. But obviously, until the point where we announced where we were going in the first place, because people, you know, they saw me leaving but didn't know where I was going, right? So they just kind of applauded me, and then until the point where they found out I was going to Falcons, then that's when shit went bad or like turned worse, right? But yeah, like the whole leaving the TSM thing was, yeah, it was like kind of just surreal to like think about that I was playing this game for that long, or like playing with them and even especially Jordan for that long, and like kind of I never thought I would, you know, leave or think about it, right? But you know, I guess life happens and things change over time, and you have no idea what's going to happen, right? So anything can happen, but for the most part, it was good. It was positive.
All right, I gotta ask, what's the beef with you and Evan? Because I genuinely just don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know either. Well, like I do know, but like I don't understand. So like it's just I've said it on stream because so like the day I don't know. It's just weird. Like I'm just I'm gonna explain it, but like before we talk about it, I'm just gonna say it is weird. Okay, so we're gonna
It's a good preface.
start from there.
I like that. I like that.
Weird.
We're just getting
The
it all the way.
ground has been laid.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, like the day that, you know, where he went on stream and like talked about you know, like how miserable it was to play with me, whatever the fuck, blah blah blah. Right. Like, so we were still in the TSM house living together. It was me, Evan, and like Tempo, right? And we were going to the gym like early in the day, and like we were waiting for Tempo to do something, and we were about to go to the gym, and me and Evan like were just waiting in the hallway, like at the front door, and he just like, I don't know if I am like going crazy, but like from what I remember, like he just straight up tells me, "Hey, I'm going to create some drama today for views, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, just," and I said, "Okay." Like I said, okay, don't make shit up. Like don't fake anything, right? Like if you're gonna do it, then make it like it's real, right? And he's like, yeah, it's all good. And I will only do that towards one person, but I'm not gonna say who it is, but it wasn't me, right? But he never mentioned my name. Like he didn't even tell me like, hey, I'm gonna go on stream today and talk about you, and don't take it to heart. Like I just need to get this off my chest, blah 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 blah. He just told me like, hey, I'm gonna make some drama today and for views, blah blah blah. So I go to the gym, we get back, he goes to stream, I go to stream, and then I realize that he just says all this shit, right? Like about me or whatever. Like at the time, like it bothered me that like, hey, you know, I didn't say anything about when I left the team, like, you know, trash talk my teammates or whatever, even though like at the back of my head, like I wanted to, but I know it wasn't right because I wanted to leave happy. Like that one negative time or bad tournament, I don't want that to like be the precedent of our time together. So I don't want to allow like my recency, you know, bias or like my recent emotions, you know, kind of determine our entire career together. So I just kind of like let it be. Like, you know, I appreciate you guys playing with me. I love playing with you guys. It was a good time, and we did great things together. And time to move on, right? Kind of like how Jordan did it, but like I did that, and Evan didn't. Like he decided that he wanted to be some villain for views or be the bad guy because he think it would be good for viewership, whatever the fuck, right? So he did that, and I kind of like, okay, I got bothered by it. Obviously, I was like really pissed. Like I didn't want to talk to him ever again because I was like, why the fuck did you do that? Like, but I kind of got over it and was accepted the fact that like, hey, that he said his like story and his piece, and it's okay that he didn't like playing with me or he was miserable, whatever. Like that's completely fine. Like I get it. I understand, right? And then like I said like one, two, or maybe like I think I said like one thing after EWC, but I didn't like make a direct tweet at him or TSM regarding after EWC when they didn't make finals, because I did think about doing it, but at the back of my head, just something was just telling me I shouldn't, so I didn't, right? So because not only like I can't only attack Evan in a way, I have to attack the entire team and also TSM. So I don't want to do that. So I kind of just like let it be. I didn't want to talk shit like how much I wanted to. Obviously, I made a tweet regarding Noko's tweet. Like, if I was on the team, I would have made finals or whatever. But like, that's different. Like I just made a reply. I didn't make a direct tweet or at anybody, right? Like the way he does or he did after, our 20th. Like he made a tweet like adding Falcons in like super team clown face or whatever. And like that just like really pissed me off because it's like, obviously I get shit talked all the time. And like we talked about how like, internet is, always people talking shit, blah, blah, blah. But it's like way different for me when it comes from an ex-teammate. Like I've never had an ex-teammate to do that to me. Like he's the first one that ever did. Like Sniper's never done that. Mac, Jordan, whatever. Like I have like great relationship with all of them, even after me leaving or them getting dropped. So like it bothers me the fact that he thinks that it's like funny or like cool or not cool, but like I guess cool for him to like use this relationship or villain like character thing that he wants to do with me and him to like use it as like clout or advantage. Like I don't want to be your friend in person, but then you use me as a way to like be a villain in your story towards me and like create this like, bad guy, good guy shit. Like why? I don't want to do that. Like I'm not going to act one way to you and then on the internet it's like completely different. It's just weird. Like why? Like you want to talk shit about my team? Like I'm too competitive to just like, play some role in your story or like be an actor. Like if you're gonna talk shit, then like you're gonna talk shit. I'm gonna talk shit back. Like we're not friends if you're gonna do that. So that's why like I have like some beef with him because he's just my ex-teammate. Like I feel like I don't know. You shouldn't talk shit. Like obviously unless you have like some type of like bad blood from each other or whatever. Like okay, sure, but like from what I know, we didn't end like that. I knew that he didn't want me to leave the team because he was still hoping that I stayed on the team after we got 17th. So it's just kind of weird from like, he just kind of took this route to like, hey, I'm going to be the bad guy against Hal and I'm going to take all the bad, people, the haters of Hal and they're going to be on my stream or my YouTube, whatever. And that just like, I don't want to deal with that. So, yeah.
How much, like how, because you said that you guys were living in the same house and streaming from like different rooms while this is like, how much longer did you guys like live together after all that went like, and what was that like? Like,
yeah, was there like
that's just so wild to me.
Was there like awkward trips to the bathroom or like you walk out of your room and he just happens to be in the hallway? You're like, oh, it's like, that's weird. Yeah. Like what was going on? Like, that's the part that always blows my mind it was happening. I was like, wait, aren't they in the same house? Like,
how people believe because like I was literally telling people on stream that he was doing like what I just said to you, how he was like that story of before the gym and how what he said, like people thought I was trolling. They thought like this was all like bullshit and like I was making it up and it was just for whatever. Like I'm being dead serious. That's literally what happened. And like and people thought like what I only said what I said because one, I was pissed off, and two, it was just like why I'm not gonna sit there and accept what he said and not say anything back, right? But I don't know, like I don't really remember how long we were in the house for with all that shit happening, but like we rarely ran into each other, like in just in general. Obviously when we went to the gym, but like I honestly don't remember like how it went. I just remember me just trying to like not talk to him. Like if I was sitting on the TV like watching TV, if he wanted to talk to me, he could talk to me, but like I wasn't going to like initiate a conversation with him or anything like that. But like I don't think it was that long until he left or I left or whatever the fuck it was at the time. But yeah.
It's just such a crazy like thing to think about because I just can't like it's just being in the same house with that happening. I was half expecting you to just open the door and just walk and be like, "What the hell is this? Like what's going on here? Like what are we talking about?" It was the whole thing was crazy, but at the same time I was thinking like, "Wait, they're down the hall." Yeah. Like it just blew my mind.
Yeah, it was weird. Like I said, it was weird.
What a time.
It was weird.
What a time. Yeah. What a time. But yeah, Jumbo?
Oh, I don't even know what to add to it at this point. Like I was just like kind of laughing. I find it pretty wild too. I was just wondering like if I didn't know how honestly to segue to EWC at some point because I did want to see like your thoughts about you guys got second EWC, the entire experience there. A lot of Falcons fans. That first day was like some monumental stuff. So want to also get your thoughts on especially the beginning, like that first day. It just seemed like absolutely electric from like the Falcons point of view. I was in the stands. I ended up leaving, but it was just only Falcons fans, obviously being in Saudi Arabia. So I don't know. What was your EWC experience like?
Our EWC experience was like great, honestly. Like, like when it came to, I guess, budget, it was not even close to ALGS. When it comes to production, hotel room and anything that you can ask for, it was just like way better. Like there was one time where the first 2-3 days or the first day I got there, none of us had our bags, I'm pretty sure. And because I was stupid enough for the first time to put my controllers in my bag, my check bag, I didn't have a controller to play with or like boot camp with because we got there like a day early to play or whatever. And the Falcons were like instantly looking for one and they found one, like a controller. And that was like the hospitality that they had. Like this was a controller that I thought like nobody would have because it was discontinued. It wasn't public retail or anything.
Is it the C40? Found one.
Yeah, the C40. They found one from a different player, like another guy that just plays games that he had it on him, right? And they got it within like less than 24 hours, right? So like that's just like the perfect example of like how it was when we were there. Is like, hey, if you need something, they'll fucking find it somehow, some way, right? But yeah, it was just obviously like overall to me it was great. Other than like finals day, I had basically I thought I had food poisoning, but it was cellulitis. I basically like was having diarrhea the entire time of finals. Like I literally couldn't eat anything without it just going out the other way. So like I had, I think, a fucking banana and I don't even know what else, like some bites of a bar, like some snack. Like basically I didn't have a single meal the entire day and just had some snacks and that's it. So like I was running on like very little things at the in finals, but yeah.
So I gotta be honest, I gotta blow this whole story wide open then, because I was down there at Saudi Arabia and I was there after finals, and I don't know if you remember, 2 a.m. in the morning, I was the one Peeps asked if Shake Shack was open, and I saw you go to Shake Shack with them. So like, care to explain? Can't eat. It's suddenly you're at Shake Shack at 2 in the morning. Like, tell me what's going on there,
bro. The issue is that I'm pretty sure the tournament, like, it would always like end late, and nothing was open except. Yeah, like we had, it was 13 games. We played 10 games, and it was like all the games would end late because we started at 6 p.m. or some shit. Yeah, I think we started at 6.
Yeah, 6
and we played
p.m.
10 games.
By the time at least I got out of there, it was 2 in the morning. By the time I got back to the hotel,
so nothing, like, obviously, like back there, like a lot of things are open later in the day, but like not restaurants. Like, fast food was open. Like, literally was like one area where there was like Cheesecake Factory, Texas Roadhouse, Raising Cane's, Steak and Shake, or not Steak and Shake,
Shake Shack.
Shake Shack, yeah, Shake Shack. They were all just next to each other, but the games were end so late, we didn't have anywhere to go but to eat the fast food that was like right next to our hotel at the mall. So
and it actually was far. Like I remember coming down and I'm like, oh, there's no way we get to Shake Shack. And Peeps is like, looks at the time, he's like, I'm not eating Cane's, because like the only place that was open was Cane's. Cane's was open till 5 a.m. and then closed and then reopened back at 6 a.m. So Cane's apparently is open like 23 hours out of the day there. And then like you said at the beginning, everyone was convinced that
that's where Guild
got food poisoning from Cane's, which I also don't know if it was food poisoning, because I talked to a lot of people who went to Cane's and none of them got that. But I don't know. That's what I was told. And Cane's was the only option I had that last day to go to, because I had to wait for the rest of the casters. So I didn't sprint the 15-minute walk to like what's it called, the Shake Shack with you guys, and somehow you guys snuck in. But no, I was left with Cane's at that point because we ate at 4 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah, the time for the tournament wasn't like that great. Like I love like obviously there would be like something like I like 10 games group stage. I liked how it was only 2 games on the new maps, not like how BLGS is. I also realized that, you know, if finals was 50 points, we would have won in 5 games instead of 60 for match point, which is another thing. But yeah, overall, like outside of me getting sick, I had, you know, it was good. It was great. Like honestly, the tournament itself, it was really damn easy. In my lie, like I felt like I was doing nothing, like because I wasn't yelling. I just kind of like showed up, shot my gun, and won the tournament. Like or got second, right? So, yeah.
No, it was. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, you're so nice. I was gonna say just because that for me still to this day, that was my favorite tournament to watch, mostly just because it went so many games. But going to what you were dealing with, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, we'll get out of here. 7-9 games goes fucking 13. You had 13 games and you had to sit up there. I also wanted to bring up the fact that I didn't realize this as just a fan. When I'm watching, I'm like, dude, I want as many games. I wanted this to go 19 games. I want every single team in this lobby to be on match point before this thing comes to a close, because I just want more Apex. But as far as the players go, and you talk about how long you were up on that stage, do fans underestimate fatigue and how long you're up there? Like, are we underestimating how tiring it is to be up there?
I don't know. I don't really understand like the fans' perception of like fatigue when it comes to Apex. Like I'd assume they probably have a similar idea. Maybe like I guess like they do underestimate it because they don't like compete, so they're just like casuals. But yeah, like in my head, past 10 games, it's just like a waste of time because everyone's just playing worse. Like it comes to the point where you get to 10 games and like now it's just like, holy fuck, can we end the tournament? Like it's just tiring because you're giving like 100% for so long, and then it comes to the point where like you just that 100% starts going down, and I feel like that shit starts going down like when you get to the 10 game mark, right? And especially if you're the IGL, like you're literally like you've seen that meme from Zero's face, like at EWC. It's like you're just brain dead.
That's one of the best pictures of all time.
Like you are like, if I was IGLing, like I'd be brain dead. Like if I had to IGL with like that like diarrhea shit, and I had to IGL for 13 games, I would sleep. I would be dead. Like actually, like it's so mentally taxing to IGL for that many games, because I've only done it once, and that was at Poland, right? And it's like it is taxing. And Poland 2 was also just like another thing that we didn't talk about is like the catering. Like the funniest shit was that the tournament went so long that all the fucking food in the back of EWC was gone. Like there was no food past like I'm pretty sure game 10 or something, because there was 60 people and there wasn't enough food in the back for everyone past then. Like, you know, so, and they can't fit everything there, but like, yeah, like it's mainly for IGLs like to perform at their best past like even 8 or 9 is like so hard. Like it's like impossible. Like you have to be like hydrated, like comfortably. You have to be eating, but like I said, like there wasn't even enough food to like, you know, for everyone to even eat in the first place. So it's like there's at a point where people weren't even eating for hours because there wasn't any food to get. So like, yeah, the fatigue is definitely a huge thing, and I don't know. I don't think they're ever going to cap the amount of games in match point, because that's like the thrill of it. The amount of games I go, you know, 10 games, like it's even better, or 11 games, 12 games, but it definitely does not help. Like the competitors are just like mentally fucked after around like the 10 game mark. It's just really bad in my opinion.
How much caffeine are you ripping on game day? And do you like up it as like, all right, once I hit game 8,
Yeah,
we're ripping it, or like what's the protocol?
So at EWC, it was like the first time I took caffeine pills. Like I've never taken caffeine pills, and I don't remember how much they were. Like maybe I think each pill was like 100 milligrams or something like that. And I think I had maybe 2 or something, like over the course of the entire like 13 games. But like I don't drink, like I don't have that much caffeine. Like I usually, if they have Red Bull, I have 1 Red Bull, or even 2, because they don't like. They are like anal with what you're drinking on the stage or whatever. You can't have logos and shit like that. But like usually I have a minimum at least 1 and 2 max. Like if I go above 2, like I'm not sleeping, right? So like I guess around like 200 milligrams of caffeine, I guess about there for a tournament. But yeah, at least 100 minimum.
Just
Beautiful.
on the point of the sickness, it was like people were treating me as I was like some beat reporter. I was getting text messages like, just overheard on the bus, Hal's sick. I was like, great, good to know. Like actually the exact message was along the lines of like, just overheard, Hal needs diarrhea medication. It's like, I don't know why I'm getting this information.
Yeah,
I'm just here to like
I took
chill.
medication before the tournament started.
This is what I'm telling
I was
you.
I was afraid of having to like literally get up from my seat or like shit myself while in the middle of the game. Like literally.
I
Like,
watched.
what am I? Yeah, like what if I have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the game? I'm just gonna sit there and like shit myself. Like
Were
Now,
you
that
prepared?
would be dedication.
No, were you prepared to shit yourself mid game? And just be honest.
no, I would have
You wouldn't do
I,
it.
no,
I would 100% shit
I
myself
swear
in
to
game.
God,
I really
if
think I would.
I would have gone up and ran across the stage and taken a shit into the bathroom.
Fortunately, it wasn't that
they-
far. Fortunately, it wasn't that far.
And if they DQ'd me because I did that, like I don't know what to tell you.
Were you top bunk, bottom bunk?
He was front row.
Uh,
Front row. Like, there wasn't bunks.
Front row.
Yeah, there was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
3
There
rows.
wasn't bunks?
Falcons
Like
has
I would
the
have
prime
ran
seat.
right in front of the trophy. They would have seen me like with the camera just running across the stage. Like everyone would have been confused. What the fuck? Why is he leaving? 'Cause I'm pretty sure if I did that, they could DQ me because it's in the middle of the game. Like I could cheat, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like
There's
I don't know.
the crown prince was there. Like, there was no
Yeah,
way he
yeah.
was letting Falcons get DQ'd.
This
Yeah.
is this is incredible. When I woke up this morning, I did not think we would be asking Imperial fucking Hal, would you have shit yourself on the stage? But here we are. This is what this this
Well,
is amazing.
like,
I love
I'm
it.
telling you, like, okay, I'm more into hockey, so the only guy I know is Elliot Friedman. But if you guys don't watch hockey, who's like the NBA? Isn't it like Waj or something like that? Like, people were
Woj,
sending me
yeah.
messages like, I'm Waj. I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? Like, I'm not tweeting it out. That's not gonna be one of
Yeah.
my content pieces.
Breaking. Hal
I mean,
contemplating
bro, the
shitting
impressions
himself.
that you left on the table,
I guess
Jumbo,
I did.
you're
I guess I
trolling.
did, but that's just not. That's not how I roll. I've never met you before, Hal. I didn't know how you would have appreciated me being like, just got word. How my
Hal
shit his
might
pants
shit
today.
himself. Yeah.
I would have responded to be like, how the fuck do you know that?
After the finals, what a surprise! Falcons dropped 114 points despite Hal needing to shit the
Yeah.
I can't tell nobody nothing around.
Yeah, like fuck. Everyone knows everything.
Hal just replies to the tweet. He's like, "Can confirm." Like,
Well, because it wasn't just Hal. Like it wasn't just you. I was getting like Guild is sick, Timmy's sick.
Yeah.
I'm getting like all these things. People are sick, and I'm like, okay, it's like, did they all eat canes? Did they all go to
Yeah.
canes at the same time? Like, that's what I was starting to wonder at that
Yeah, like
point.
I was sick. Guild was like completely fucked. Like he was throwing up and just like he was bad too. Like he was really sick, and like Cinetic from like Phases IGL also had a fever.
Oh,
Like, he was sick.
okay. Because Cinetic told me that he didn't get food poisoning from canes. If you told me that then like Cinetic
No,
was
yeah,
sick,
I
I was
don't-
like, he lied to
well,
me.
I'm pretty sure I remember someone telling me that Cinetic, I'm pretty sure, had a fever, and he was like, I remember I don't know if he had like a face mask or something. He had a hoodie on or something. I
Mhm.
remember him having something on, like covering himself, and that's why I remember like he was definitely sick, and yeah, he had like a fever. So that's the only people that I knew that was sick was like me, Guild, and Cinetic. So
Yeah, I
Incredible.
heard about Timmy and Raven too. But like,
incredible stuff.
Raven was sick like during groups.
yeah,
I don't know anything about Timmy though.
yeah. Anyways.
Incredible stuff. That's what this podcast brings.
Yeah,
that's
we didn't even talk about the EWC.
That's what we bring to the table.
No comps, no performance. Everyone's seen it already. We know.
We already
Second
know.
place.
Everybody
It was a
knows.
legendary tournament.
Yeah.
This is the real reporting. Anyways. Speaking
of the bunks and where you were at, we have a very, very important question to ask, and we've asked it. And you're the CEO. This is going to be an incredible answer. I really want to know, when you're at LAN, would you rather be in the top bunk or the bottom bunk on the stage? Which one?
Bottom. Just because.
No, that's.
Well, like there's.
Yeah.
Well, I personally just like bottom because. I don't know. It's just like more convenient, I guess. Like I don't have any superstition with like any of that. Like, oh, like I won every time the top row or top bunk or whatever. Like I haven't won in the bottom bunk. Like I don't really give a shit about that. It's just like convenient. Like it's just more so like, hey, where did we play groups? Like where did I feel like my game felt good or nice or whatever? And I just want to play there. And if it's on the bottom, I play in the bottom. If it was the top, I'll go top. But like I know some people like to go, I think. Like there's benefits to both. Like at the top, it's warmer, I think. Like I'm pretty sure it's warmer on the top bunk, and on the bottom it's colder. But then at the top, like the lights are worse. There's downsides and upsides to both, like bottom or top. But for me, it's just like I'd rather go bottom if I could, just because of like I guess convenience. I don't have to go upstairs or anything like that. It's like I just walk there. And I guess I could see the crowd more. So I don't know. I don't really care that much.
In each now, listen, I don't know why we care so much either, but it's just something we just got interested in. Do you remember each of your LAN wins if you were top? Do you remember which one you were top, which one you were bottom?
I can answer the question.
You know it?
Yeah, I don't remember. I think
I just double checked to look it up. You won both at the top. Like you both at the top.
Really?
Oh,
yeah. So
shit.
because you're like, I'm not superstitious, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure this guy won both on the top. I could double check split one playoffs.
I'm pretty sure Champs was top.
Champs is definitely top. Yeah, I'm looking at that right now. Let me look at split one playoffs London. I'll find out in 2 seconds. Oh look, the timestamp right at Hal from the heavens. Who would have thought?
Maybe
I don't remember.
Maybe we have to start getting a little stitious with this. Maybe we have, if you're winning all of them on the top.
Hold on, wait. They don't ever zoom out. Where were you guys seated? I can't tell from this angle. Maybe you guys were at the bottom. I just assumed top.
I feel like the present one might have been bottom, but I don't remember. I think Champs was top.
No, I'm waiting for them to maybe zoom out.
Wait, was the one where Raven jumped on top of me? That was the London one, right?
That was the first London one, yes.
Yeah, so I think that was top then, because I remember them zooming out, and it was the second.
They're both at the top. They're both at the top. They're both at the top.
Oh shit!
For sure.
Okay.
So you said you're not superstitious, but I don't know. You're winning these as a top, man. Hal wants to be a bottom, but he's a top. That's the quote.
I guess so. Fuck, we have to make sure that's the thing at Champs.
Oh man!
I'll tell Zero.
Well, this has been awesome, man. I got just a few more questions.
Zero also
here.
did win at the top. It's split two.
Oh my god!
I don't know about the previous. Like Sweden, there was no top or bottom.
Yeah, he's superstitious as fuck. He's telling me like I've never lost in split two. Like I have these shoes, I've never lost in these shoes, or I've gotten like top three in these shoes. Like cool, bro.
So I think it's safe to say we will not see Zero in the outfit that you guys got 20th in.
No,
I hope not. I think it might be gone. Burned, yeah.
He bought new shoes. He bought new shoes immediately. That was the first thing he bought. Yeah. Like I said, man, this has been awesome. I got just a few more. I saw a tweet from you. I think it was a few weeks ago, talking about I wish I could play ALGS all the time. I wish I could be playing competitive Apex all the time. I thought this would be interesting from your perspective, because I've said I wish we had just one more LAN. Like an EWC kind of filled that hole. But if you had control and you could make the schedule and make it to where you had whatever LANs where, however long Pro League lasted, how would you set it up?
That's a big question.
If you were the CEO actually of Apex, as Wyatt said last time you were on the podcast.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like 4 LANs is better than 3. So like it just makes sense in like the quarters. Like we always go quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4 of years. So I feel like having 4 LANs, obviously the 4th being Champs or the biggest one, would be like the best to do. Pro League needs to be like shortened like fucking crazy, because it's like milked out like a motherfucker. Like it's just so long for no reason. But like it, the issue is that they have to, like right now they have to kind of make like milk Pro League because there's nothing else going on, right? Like you kind of have Pro League, you have Pro League scrims, and you have LAN. That's it. Basically, you don't have like any third party tournaments anymore at all. So it's like I don't know, like if in a perfect world and I get to do whatever I want with my chessboard or whatever, is just like 4 LANs, make Pro League shorter because right now it's like insanely long for no reason, and I would love to have like Realm being a staple of the game or like a private rank system, and then also have like just some support in the background with like third party tournaments, like have cash cups, like have EA host public tournaments in the game. Like you can just go into the game and click on something and just join a game or join a tournament, like kind of how like Fortnite does. Like why can't we do that, right? But obviously you have a cheater problem that you have to figure out because you have cheaters playing for money and winning money, and then you have so much more issues. But yeah, like I would shorten Pro League a lot. I would even somehow try to make scrims have money, or like I don't know, somehow make scrims more like purposeful in a way. Like have people have not just only practice and learn things, but have a consequence to doing stupid shit or just showing up one day and don't feel like they don't want to play, right? So there's a lot of things, but like other things hold it back, like the cheater situation, money, and stuff like that. But yeah.
When you say you'd shorten Pro League, would you shorten the amount of days or just the time in between the amount of days?
Like the time in between.
Okay.
Amount of days. Yeah. I feel like obviously sometimes there's like breaks because of holidays and stuff like that, but like I think they just do it because there's nothing else going on, and they kind of needed like just make like it long, even though you can make it short, because APAC North does it pretty, like they make it pretty fast. I'm pretty sure like everything is they play multiple groups on the same day or something like that, like back to back to back or whatever. So yeah, it's just too many like breaks in between the game days. I feel like is too much.
No, I like it. And we had Hackus on a few weeks ago. He talked about the same thing with you with scrims, where he said we only simulate group stages. We never simulate, like a loser's bracket, a winner's bracket. I don't know how you would be able to do that, and it would probably be difficult. But I mean, if you toss some money on there, I'm sure teams would smarten up real quick on how they approach like a scrim block.
Oh yeah, for sure.
100%.
Like I understand Hackus, and I agree with it, but it's like we can't even get like the base shit right, like having just a normal 20 team lobby done correctly, because it's not like we're not doing it right outside the game, but more so in the game, like people taking it serious and not doing things they would actually do in game day and whatever. But like if we can't do that right, like how are we going to get losers bracket done? Like we don't even have, sometimes you don't have enough teams to play. Like we have right now in BLGS, I'm pretty sure there's only one lobby running, and BLGS is public. How do you only have one lobby running for scrims? So it's like, how, if we can barely have one lobby running for just groups, how are we gonna have a losers bracket and a winners bracket? We're gonna have 5 teams. Like you're not gonna have a losers bracket because nobody's playing, or people are not playing. You're just gonna have a winners bracket only. So it doesn't work. But yeah, money obviously is always a problem. Like, do you have the money for it? How are we gonna make money off of it? Like who's gonna back it? Like even if, let's say, you put money on international scrims, people that have high ping, you're not gonna see any of that money. Like you're gonna be contesting, you're gonna be losing because you're contesting and you're on high ping. You're not gonna make any, like, taking that money just back to NA. Like NA's putting the money in, NA's taking it back, right? Because most international teams are on high ping and they're contesting and they're losing them because they're on high ping. So it's like, what's the point? It's not fair. So like, yeah, the money is like cool, but it's not like those like teams will have an even chance to get to it in the first place. So yeah.
Interesting. Well, E, do you wanna hit him with it?
Yeah, I can, but first I have a question that I ask everybody who comes on for their second time, but I have a question that I gotta ask. And so you are running, like, you got this little like 1v1 thing with Timmy going, but I think the real question that the people want to know is if it's a 1st to 10 in the firing range, you versus Lil Fredson, who do you think wins?
On controller? And
yeah, on controller.
What is the instance?
Whatever situation you would feel most confident.
I don't know. I think Fred is really good. Like, I think he can beat me. Like, mechanically, he might be better than me. But, like, outside of that, like, he doesn't have experience or anything like that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no, I just think mechanically speaking, dude, that kid is actually just insane. It is so cool.
Like, I think it'd be really close. Like, I don't think it'd be, like, easy for him or me at all.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it would be fun to watch, no doubt.
Yeah, I think it could go either way in my head. But, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he beat me, and I wouldn't be surprised if I beat him. So,
yeah.
I definitely think he can. That's true.
Yeah, and for an 11-year-old, it's just mind blowing.
Yeah,
it's so cool. All right, but the legitimate question, the real question is, so the last time you were on here was quite some time ago, right?
Yeah.
March 2023.
So March 2023. Yeah. So from then to now, what is the most important thing you've learned?
Yeah, the hard-hitting questions.
E really wants to make you think always.
Yeah.
Take some time to ponder.
Yeah, take some time, because we were just asking you about 10 minutes ago about shitting your pants. So, you know, I get that the switch up is a little...
We get it from both angles, right?
Yeah. Cover wide range here on the...
Yes.
Most important thing I've learned. Well, there's like a spicy answer. There's one spicy answer, but then there's also one bland answer. So I'll give you both.
That is I was hoping you'd say that. I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping you'd say both.
So I guess we'll start with bland first. My first bland answer that I've learned is like playing the role, like not playing IGL is a lot harder than I thought. Let's say, or like, yeah, I guess maybe it's harder for me because I used to be an IGL, and playing that role outside of it is a lot harder than I thought. You know, making sure I don't like counter call and, you know, say anything to even suggest or persuade Zero to, you know, lean onto my idea or whatever. It's a lot harder than I thought. That's like my bland answer, right? But the spicy answer, to me, I personally, I guess, I don't know if I miss, or more so I think I just need to be an IGL. Like,
okay.
Like as I've like kind of played and, you know, outside of an IGL, like I feel like I've obviously, but maybe that's just because like I've had, you know, so much experience IGLing, and I've always thought as an IGL or whatever. So like, and I feel like when I don't have the control of being an IGL or making the decision, like it bothers me. And obviously, like, it's not like that bother is not to the point where like, oh my God, I'm going to leave Falcons after champs because I want it back to IGL. It's like just more so like,
put his ass on Newcastle. You got that.
But I don't know. I just, I don't know. I actually enjoyed playing. Like, I thought I would also enjoy. I obviously do enjoy not IGLing, but like, even though IGL is a lot harder and a lot more pressure, and, you know, takes a lot more, I feel like that's who I am and that's what I should be. But obviously, like, doesn't mean like I'm going to leave Falcons and be an IGL again or whatever it might be. Like, that's just like a statement that I feel like I do miss it, and that like I feel like I do fit more of a role as an IGL and not like a fragger or whatever. But yeah,
I mean, you've been putting up the damage. I've seen the Fuse games.
Those fuse games.
I mean, he put up the damage on
grenade after grenade.
To be fair, though, he put up the damage on IGL too. I think like champ, so what was like 22 kills in that finals lobby? Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Listen, I can do both.
Kinda did both.
I can do both.
Kinda did both.
I can do both, but yeah, IGLing is my thing, and I've like, if I had to pick, it would be IGLing for sure. Even though like fragging is a lot easier. Sure.
That is, it's. I mean, you've answered it now. It's funny. I had like a massive list of questions, and I was gonna ask, like, you know, since like you've been, a lot of people talked about when you joined Zero, like, would there be a clash of ideas? And so it's interesting to see that you've kind of said like you realized how much you have to hold yourself back to not clash to be able to let him do what he does, right? So it's kind of interesting to get that perspective. I just, you know what I think we need? I think we need one of those no camera, I'm the fucking grind moments to come back. That's what we need.
I feel like I'm gonna have another moment like that. I'm just waiting for it.
Just
like
come.
I don't know. I like personally, obviously it's like outside question, but it's still related to like the team. Like I personally, like ever since the 20, like my like confidence as a player has been like down, and I feel like I'm not as good as I want to be or used to be. So like that's why I've been like playing so much and etc. And that's why I also swapped to PlayStation controller. I feel like, you know, me playing Xbox or Astro has like been holding me back, blah blah blah. So I feel like, you know, it's like the reference to the same thing as like the NA playoffs, like winter playoffs that we had. Like I have something to prove. I have like a chip on my shoulder in a way, and I want to prove, you know, like I said, that I am still that guy and will be that guy. So yeah.
I love it.
Looking forward to it.
I love it.
It's gonna be fun.
I'm looking forward. Yeah, it's gonna be great, man. And like we said, it's this is there was a sling. We always talk about a slingshot method here. It's Enoch's method, where you know you have a setback, but then you launch forward. And going into finals, I'm sure that's what you guys are looking to do over there at Falcons, and we can't wait to see it. Hal, it's been such a pleasure, man. It's always great talking to you, and thank you so much for your time. And hopefully, next time we talk to you, you bring home a trophy again. That's what we're hoping for.
I hope so too. And thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no,
I love doing this.
Thank you, man. Once again, man, it was awesome. Thank you. All right, ladies and gents, that was TSM Imperial Hal.
No, you gotta redo that. He's from Falcons.
I just said TSM.
Nah, keep it. Ladies and
I
gentlemen,
meant Falcons.
Imperial
I
Hal.
meant Falcons Imperial Hal. That
is the cut
was
we
a
use.
mistake.
Honestly, I still
mistake.
say sweets from Energy. I will never call liquid not LG. So it's like, fair enough.
Yeah, my bad. Hand up. That was Falcons Imperial Hal. And man, I gotta say that was awesome, man. And it was a great time with him. Almost broke the record for longest interview once again. I know just a few weeks ago we almost broke it.
I mean, we
think he was
easily
like-
could have broke it. If
We could have broke it,
We
yeah.
easily could have, but out
I
of
mean, we
respect
kept
for that
talking
man's time.
after the podcast.
Yes.
All that
Yeah.
stuff could have been in the podcast.
Yeah, all the questions we
We
asked
didn't even
after.
have anything juicy after. We were just like, oh, hey, by the way, more questions that we could have literally just asked you 2
Yeah,
seconds
I
ago.
forgot to
Yeah.
ask him about the state of Apex. I had that as a question, but we talked about a lot.
We talked about a lot, and you know, you just wanted to. You feel bad sometimes because you're like, I wonder if they're like about to pass out, like, and like, you know, it's one of those. But hey, man, it was awesome. It's always great to have Hal on, and you know, it was awesome, man. It was just great. There's not too much to say about it. It was a good time. We'll run a quick heart to heart here because me and the boys are. It's late. It is late. This is the latest we've ever done an interview, and you know, we had to do it for the CEO. Jumbo, do you want to go first with your heart to heart?
Fuck. I don't know. Okay, can my heart to heart literally be interviewing Imperial Hal? Like that's pretty fucking sick.
That's
like,
fucking awesome.
that is like the full circle for me at this point. I started and like I asked him this after the pod. People didn't get to see it, but I asked Al Relay last week too. Like, have they seen that first video? Because I'm sorry, like I take a lot of pride when like the guys get to see the videos. Like, I never expect my videos to ever blow up, and so when I made the videos, like for the first time when I was like starting off on YouTube, what I always thought is all I wanted is like, if the person I'm making this video about sees it, I hope that they're proud about it, right? So I guess like, yeah, I get a little bit like, that's probably the only time I fanboy about any of these dudes in the scene. Like I do. And like, I asked Al last week and he's like, yeah, I've seen it. And like, it was great. And like, I asked Hal now because I needed to know. And he's like, yeah, he said he's watched a bunch of my videos. So that is literally like the full circle moment. I started off my channel from making a video about those two guys that we just interviewed in the last week. I mean, I interviewed Snipe now, and I wasn't there for the Verhulst interview, but like I got to talk to Verhulst. Reps is my last fucking guy I got to talk to. I haven't met that guy from that original TSM roster to get the complete understanding of who's seen that video. But all in all, that's just pretty cool for me. Like to finally get to the point to interview him. There's no sugarcoating it. He's the #1 guy in the scene, and he was super personable. Went pretty deep into a lot of questions and like some touchy subjects I didn't really expect. I was actually probably like, again, it's probably the most nervous I've ever been for an interview outside of the first time I interviewed Zero. And I was nervous for the Zero interview for other reasons. Like I had their management team telling me he was going to be like against doing the interview. So anyways, so yeah, that was pretty cool to have full circle, get to talk to him. Probably formerly me, I ran into him a couple times at EWC, but never said anything. And and just like, I guess I'll even add on to the point of a lot of people look where the hate comes from and everything like that. And that a lot of people think that these guys are all bad guys. I have not met a single pro in the scene that hasn't been just a chill dude to hang out and talk to. And like so many of these people like dog on these dudes when they just don't know the full picture. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And I'm not saying I do, but like I take that into account that I have no reason to like hate on any of these dudes for what's going on. They're just trying to make a career, trying to make a living and do what they do best. So it was pretty cool to get to talk to him. And, he's such a chill, nice dude and laughed and vibed for like fucking 2 hours there.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go into it a little bit on my heart to heart too. I guess, yeah, I'd follow it up. Mine's not fully on Hal, but I will say that entire situation that people are throwing hate at him for, I didn't have a full grasp on it either. And then when you hear like where he's coming from, where it's like, first of all, I can't say certain aspects because it's not my place to. And then also you're a brand new guy on a team. And then somebody asks you to make a very major decision that is never easy to do. Like that's super difficult. He's not just the CEO, ImperialHal. He can say and do whatever. It's like, dude, he's still a brand new player to a dynamic of guys who have been hanging out and like around each other forever. And people forget too, a lot of these guys are like friends outside of the game and they hang out outside of the game and it takes a toll on the friendship. Like that's never easy because you're trying to compete, but also trying to maintain a friendship at the same time. And I'm sure that's never easy to traverse as well. My heart to heart will be grit, toughness, determination, because for anybody watching that interview, there's a moment where I looked over to my right arm and there was a bug on me and I jumped. And my seat that I sit on used to have armrests. It's bare metal now. And I just never bought a new seat. I just have bare metal on my chair. So when I jumped, I slammed my elbow into this metal. And I could have thrown in the towel right there. I could have thrown in the towel.
You're a trooper.
Dude, I trooped it out, and you know what that's for? That's in honor of hockey season starting today. Those guys could do it. So I could do it as well. So my heart to heart this week, grit, determination, battling through struggle.
There's a really iconic memory of mine, and like I'm sure a lot of hockey fans of Steven Stamkos taking a puck or maybe a stick, breaking his nose, blood everywhere. Dude goes to the dressing room, comes out, finishes the game with full face shield on, plays an amazing game, and that was true resilience, true captain, the true like spirit of a hockey player. And you showed that today with
I showed it today.
Your elbow.
I showed it today. I also ran out of water mid interview, and like
I raw dogged that, no water.
People talk about some of the greatest competitors to battle through things, and I think I'm up there. I think I'm up there with those titans. Call me a titan. That's what I was during this interview. That's my heart to heart being
before
being
egos.
A titan.
Wait, before egos, because I actually wasn't done. Just quickly, what I was saying about mine, and then
my fault.
The only reason why I don't want to interrupt E's if it's like afterwards, and because yours was a funny one, anyways. All I wanted to finish off quickly was saying was like a lot of like the things with like these guys you see online. You see things negatively about Hal. You see things negatively about Zero. Like there's guys like Design. Phony, like they all get like this bad, like these are the ones I could think of recently that have gotten a ton of bad like publicity, I guess you could say, like the way that commenters online reflect to them. And once again, all 4 of them, whenever I talk to them, I have had nothing but great experiences. And like, again, I don't know what's going on with Zero right now with like this whole Gen situation, but I'm sure that there's something that we'll never know, and I'm not gonna just write people off for that. I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. These guys are all good dudes. Anyways, Enoch.
You know what's crazy? You know, it's right before Enoch goes. You know what's crazy? You were talking about that was like a nerve-wracking interview. Is it? Hal was so cool on the first one. I wasn't even nervous. I was more nervous for onset. Like 2 weeks ago, I was actually nervous for that. I was like, oh shit. Because like
I
onset,
wasn't nervous because of Hal, because it's Hal. Like at this point, like I said, like I had several chances to like chat with Hal. I was like chilling right next to him. Like if I wanted to turn around and be like, yo, what's up? I'm not afraid to do that. I've done it with 100 pros. It's just like I just didn't because like there was other things going on. And so like I don't think it was like nervousness at a starstruck or something like that. It actually was nervousness of like navigating the drama situation because I've seen how much negative like things have been going on. But then like he was really chill and open about stuff. So
just handled it, dude.
Yeah.
Handled his business. All right, E, you're heart to heart.
This is gonna be a shocker, but I'm gonna be ripping the gratitude.
Yeah.
Of course.
New listeners are gonna hear gratitude for the first time. I'm sure we're gonna get some new ones.
Dude, I mean, life is just pretty great. Like, I gotta wake up. I gotta do my best to not full tilt while playing Apex Legends ranked, and then try to have a positive impact on as many people as I can while I'm not calling people pieces of shit. And full tilt. I full tilted this week a couple days. And like I regained. We're bouncing back, but like literally, as soon like I just get off, and then I get to spend time with my son, my wife. Like everything is amazing, and like literally, like we were getting together for like the pre-show stuff, and I had said 11. And I was like, no, I bumped it back to 11:15, and I just got a little bit more time of literally just sitting there, just holding my son, and just like nothing is better. And so, like literally, just nothing is better than just sitting there and just like holding like my little mini me. And it's just like my life is pretty amazing. Once I'm gonna be getting back into the gym grind again in a little bit, and so then that's gonna be fire. And it's just life is great, and
can't complain.
I do think that from like this point moving forward, I will like cherish like moments like way more, simply due to the fact that like now that like I have a son that's like he's like 3 weeks old now, and I can already tell that like he's growing, and he's growing compared to like when he was like just like fresh out the womb, right? And so he's just gonna keep growing. And so like all of these moments that I have, like I understand that like they're very like limited, and they're like they're gonna pass, and they're eventually there's gonna be a day where I'm not able to just hold my son in my arms anymore, because he's gonna be like a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
And so, but like while I have the time to like be able to just like hold my son in my arms right now, I'm just gonna cherish that for as much as possible, and try to take that energy into my regular life. And but life is amazing.
That's why I wanted to like get my sort of rant out, because I'm like, I know Enoch's gonna have something sweet, and I don't want to like then have to be like, let's go back to the Apex stuff.
Imagine you cut him off during that one and be like, another thing about Apex, guys.
Exactly. No, but I knew it was gonna be something like that, so I wanted to give you your time. I mean, like with that though, you said like you kind of get tilted. Do you ever have like points during the day where like something doesn't go great on stream? You take a walk in between games, go see your kid, and you're just like, I'm ready to just go back to full reset, right?
Literally all like it's a complete like 100% reset. Like literally, like there was like one of the days I was playing, I was getting really mad, and then my wife brought him down. It was standing there, and I just got to like go over and just like see him, and just like love on him for like a little bit, and then it was just like I just kissed him on the forehead a couple times, and like literally just, and then like everything, and I'm just like, okay, everything's fine. It's like all right, like no matter how much bullshit I could be like perceiving that I'm experiencing through my Apex Legends ranked experience, right? Because like I feel like I give myself a plenty amount of what could be perceived as bullshit experiences, and it just doesn't matter because it's just
it's the best.
I highly children within the confines of marriage, for me personally, that's the way I would recommend going about it. But it's amazing.
Yeah,
have a kid, ladies and gents. Have a kid.
Yeah, it's the thing too is like when they get a little bit older, because mine, she's 9 or 10 months now, and before I came back into the room, I saw her, and for a long time, all she wanted to do was be around mom because she spends more time with mom. And she saw me, and I started walking out to get ready for this interview, and she crawled towards the bed and started crying because I was walking out. That's so tough. I was like, because it's just like, oh, she wants me, like she wants to be here. It's like part of me just wants to have her chilling right here. So Hal, do you want to? Would you, if you were to shit your pants, would you still like have her?
Like, I got a pro, right, I got a pro right here. Like she might have some answers.
What's your take on dirt, Hal?
Yeah, Hal, have you ever tried eating dirt? Yeah, no.
You actually just tough, ask man. Hal, do you have any recommendations for how I could get my baby to stop eating dirt? He's like, I don't know. Like, what if he had like just a full explanation? He's like, okay, so here's how. Yeah, no, it's awesome, man. It's one of the best feelings in the world. And ladies and gents, if you guys are new to the show, welcome. We interview all these pros all the time. We talk competitive Apex. And if you stuck around this long, we have chats like this at the end of every show, as well as at the beginning, most of the time before the interview. The only reason there wasn't one this week, just not a whole lot of news overall. We're waiting for champs at this point. So that's what it is. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have been tuned in forever, thank you guys for supporting us as long as you guys have been. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Apex the Podcast. See ya.